Okay, we're going to review really quickly, and then today we'll write our first program. Won't be much. Okay, remember, it's all about ones and zeros. And what does a computer do? It just fetches and executes instruction, and that's what programming is writing those instructions. There's different levels of programming. Machine language is writing actual ones and zeros. The next level up is assembly language, which you can see some here. Commands move AH, 9 is a lot easier to write than 10001110. I mean, it is. But then there's the higher level languages, and that's what we're going to work in. Understand that memory is broken into bits. It's either a 1 or a 0. 8 bits is a byte. And there's kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes, terabytes, and petabytes even. When you program, you're actually programming in a language so that you and the computer know what you're talking about. There's hundreds. I even saw a new one. Now, there's some pretty standard languages, and most languages can be broken down into two. The first category, which includes C, C++, and Java, and many others, are compiled languages. This means that you create a program and you can then hand that program off to something. This is something that, Windows is essentially a program. Minecraft or anything is written in this kind of compiled language. Then there's interpreted languages like HTML, JavaScript, and PHP. And these essentially are just a file, and whoever's interpreting the language, like a browser, will go down, read the first line, do something, and then read the next line, and just execute it one line at a time. Now, how do you write a program? Well, you write it in what's called an editor. And really, an editor can almost be anything, although there are some problems that you got to be careful to avoid. But there's thousands of editors. Now, on a Windows machine, we have Notepad, which is the simplest, which just is, it writes text and nothing else. You have to be careful with text editors, though. For example, TextEdit on the Mac will not save your program in a text file. It will actually put extra stuff in there. And so if you save it and then try to open it up in a browser, it'll not know what to do except for display the text. It actually won't try to interpret it as a program. Emacs is probably the most complex. It's been around a long time, but we're not even going to get close to anything like that. So let's program. Okay, so here we are in Notepad, and I'm going to write the world's simplest program. Hello world. Now that doesn't look like much, does it? But let's open it up. This is interpreted, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this as an HTML. Now it's important that I put this .html only because I want to double click on it and have it open up in a browser. Otherwise I can name it anything and open it up in a browser, but I'm going to remind myself that this is a HTML document, not a text document. Now when I open this up in my web browser, you can see it right there. It says hello world. Well, that doesn't really look like a program, does it? But it is. This browser opened up the file and said, oh, you want to put out this text. Now let's do something. What if we wanted to make this, for example, bold? Well, the command to do that is B. Now, if this wasn't a program, then when I open this up in my browser, I should see that B, but I won't. It doesn't show the B, and it made the text bold. Well, we could do a lot of things. For instance, we could say that the style is that we want the color of the text to be red. I'll save this. And look at that. It's red. Now, I know that some people who know HTML are going to say, this is horrible programming. And yes, it is. It's the very simplest. I gave this to my daughter, and I said, okay, what would you want to do? She said, well, I want to make it red, and I want to make the font bigger. So we looked up what the command was under Style, and it was just font dash size colon, and we'll go 200. Again, we'll save it. And there we go. Now, you ought to play around with this. There's a lot of different options. You can change the color of the text. You can change the text. There's a lot of things that you can do here. But you are starting to program. You're giving commands to the interpreter who will then say, what is it that you want me to do? Oh, you want me to put out this text, and you want something, you want the size, and you want the color, and there's a lot of other things that you can do here. So play around and begin your first program and be proud of the fact that you actually wrote a program.